Man, oh man, did the UFC White House card prove me wrong in the worst way possible? Excuse me, the best way possible. That was an absolute banger. As much as I want to come on here and hate on it and give it flack and talk about it as not being a good card, man, they proved me wrong tonight. Dana White came out, he cooked. I can't lie. This card was definitely a banger from start to finish. Literally, I can't remember the last time a card, even though the card was only 7 fights in terms of the whole card. I can't remember the last time you had a card where it was all fucking finishes. I mean, from start to finish. Diego Lopez coming back from a fight that he was losing early on and come back and getting a stoppage over Steve Garcia. Bo Nichols, I ain't gonna lie, he proved me wrong too. I thought he'd win the fight by decision, but he came and really put it on the Casas and stopped him. I definitely didn't foresee that happening for sure. Ruffy, I ain't gonna lie. I assumed he'd win this fight for sure. He's definitely a contender in the lightweight division for sure. He put down an old Michael Chandler. I think it's time for Michael Chandler to retire. It's time for him to go. It's time for him to hang it up. He's taking so many stoppages, losses, and I think that's what 4 in a row in terms of losses he's had. It's time for him to, hit the old dusty trail, so to speak. It's time for him to get up out of here. The crazy man himself, Josh Hoskett, undefeated heavyweight. He came in and did what he had to do. Great stoppage win over Derek Lewis. He's another one in terms of Derek Lewis and needs to hang it up and get up out of here. He's been losing a lot of fights recently, and his chin isn't even holding up the way it used to. I know in his prime, his chin was just granite. He could take a lot of punishment and still come through and get wins, but it's clearly, taking its toll on him in all the fights he's been in the war. So hopefully it'll be the last time we see him, or at least give him a showcase fight in his hometown to ride him off into the sunset, because he got beat up tonight. Him and Chandler, like I said, two guys are really at the end of they run in the UFC. It's time for them to move on. And obviously Sean O'Malley beating Zahabi, even though I thought that finish, most people thought that style was terrible because Zahabi still was in it. He definitely was still in it, even though it was a great shot that Sean O'Malley threw to put him down for sure, because it was definitely a great shot. But he recovered pretty quickly. I didn't expect him to recover the way he did. So he did what he had to do to get the win, even though, like I said, the stoppage, that they could have let that go on a little bit longer just to suffice that finish. But Sean O'Malley got a win. I seen he called out Peter Yan. He has no business getting a rematch against Yan yet. That should be Marab's, obviously. But Marab is still out with this injury he's got. Maybe you give it to Sean, even though I think he still needs to get one more win before he deserves another title shot. But he did his thing. He showed up and showed out on the White House lawn and was able to get a good win, good dub. Now, the co-main in the main event. I'm not going to lie, I didn't really have a big horse in either one of these fights. It was a toss-up to me, at least in the co-main. I didn't know how that fight was really going to play out, but the way Gane beat up on Alex Pereira tonight, it just shows that there's divisions in fighting for a reason. I think Pereira bit off a little bit more than he could chew in this fight. He got beat up tonight as well. Took a lot of punishment. I know there were some thoughts about some of the 6 elbows that Gane was hitting Pereira with when he got hurt. It wasn't that bad to me. I think a few of them were a little bit, not dirty, but a little bit illegal. But for the most part, them shots was pretty clean to me, And Gane getting his win, obviously he's going to have a unification bout with Tom Aspinall when he's ready to get back in the ring and has his eye issues figured out. But I ain't gonna lie, I mean, just seeing Gane beat up on Pereira like that, I'm glad this wasn't John Jones, because it could have been worse in terms of the finish. I don't even think the fight would have got out the first round if it was Pereira and Jones. So, and it just shows you how great John Jones is. The fact that he treated Cyril Gane like a baby and beat him in less than 2 minutes in they fight when he submitted him, just made him look like he was nothing. And Gane's looking like a real threat, and considering the fact that he fought Aspinall and was actually giving Aspinall some trouble in the first round before that fight got stopped because of that eye poke accidental. It just showed you what levels of John Jones was at that time. I don't know where he's at now, considering he ain't fought in a while. Considering I don't know if he's on the fence or whether he's retired or not. But it just shows you what type of talent that John Jones is and what his craft shows. He's just an amazing fighter. But Gane, this ain't about John Jones, obviously. I'm just making that point because I just thought about it. I was like, God damn, like it just shows you how ridiculous John Jones was. But Gane, he did what he had to do. He's the interim champion. He showed up on the White House lawns and got it done. It just seemed like he just was way faster than Pereira. I thought Pereira would be able to match his speed and his footwork, and he just couldn't, They had to try what he could do to survive, but he just took too much damage, It kind of puts that talk that Dana White was talking about with a 3 division win for Pereira, that'll make him the GOAT. And even before that proclamation, I thought that was some bullshit out of Dana White, just him hyping up his card. But like I said, Dana cooked. He did a great job with this card. I thought, just like most people thought months ago, this card was going to shit the bed, but it definitely showed up and was very entertaining, and it definitely paid out, in a good way. So I give him credit with that. And that the main event between Topuria and Gaethje, I can't lie, I was shocked. More so shocked by how Topuria fought. I'm not gonna lie. I thought for sure that Topuria, faster, younger, stronger, possibly, with better footwork, better abilities on the feet and on the ground. Him being elite everywhere where the fight would go. I don't know if it was just a long layoff, but he definitely looked like a shell of his elite self. He's still a great fighter, even in that fight. He had Gaethje hurt in that second round. I thought he had a chance to finish it. Kind of blew his wad a little bit, it seemed like. But it just blew my mind to see Topuria just standing right in front of somebody like Gaethje. Like, even though Gaethje is a brawler type fighter, proven type fighter, I get it. And he's got granite power in both hands and it's very hard to put away. But why? I just understand the game plan from Topuria. Like, why stand in front of this dude and take all of those unnecessary blows and shots and not moving your head off the center line, not coming off with angles in and out and being more tactical what you were doing, just standing there trading with his ass the entire fight. He got beat up. That fight could have got stopped in the 4th round just based off of the damage that Topuria took. He took a hell of a lot of damage. In a fight like that, with all that damage he took, I wouldn't be surprised if at least one of his orbitals was broken. And all the damage he took to his eyes, it wouldn't shock me if he's never the same fighter afterwards. He's definitely going to be out the rest of the year. For sure. I don't see him fighting again this year. Maybe you might not see him again, just like this previous year where you didn't see him for a whole year. He might be out another whole year again. And he'll be a year older with more mileage, more damage that he's recovered from. Those type of beatings you take in the ring, those are the type of beatings that fighters, even elite ones, sometimes have trouble coming back from the same. So he's got a long layoff to deal with, And don't get it twisted. He hit Gaethje with a lot of crazy good shots. So it wasn't like it was just Gaethje ran right through him. But the fact that Gaethje's 37 years old, he was able to come through. Khabib, you look at Khabib again too and say, damn, Max Holloway, a lot of dudes who have beaten Gaethje and knocked him out and say, damn, like, it just shows you how good they are too. Especially Max Holloway. He got a big fight with Conor coming up, so we'll see how that plays out. A lot of tables and a lot of things could change in the coming months depending upon how this Holloway-Conor fight plays out. You got Saryukin. Obviously, he's been a name that's been thrown around who's the #1 contender. Who's been waiting for his shot. I think he has an opportunity to get a shot. Even though I don't think Gaethje's going to really be around for the long haul. He is 37. He finally achieved his goal, won the championship. Does he stick around for another couple fights, or does he just ride off into the sunset? I know he talked about in the post-fight press conference or interview that he had to think about it, but we'll see what happens. That fight was crazy, like I said. The shots that Gaethje was landing, the damage that Topuria took on his face, the amount of back and forth between the first 3 rounds, how this fight was playing out. I thought the fight was even going into the last round, considering the fact I thought that Topuria got a 10-8 round in that second round, what he did to Gaethje, and Gaethje was able to come back in the 3rd. And in the 4th, it was pretty tight, but Gaethje came and did what he needed to do, so I got to tip my cap to the human highlight reel. He showed up and really made a fool out of me. I thought this fight was going to be a runaway for Topuria. But the game plan he came up with, I don't know if it was, like I said, a long layoff. He didn't look like he was in his greatest condition, but he didn't look like he was terrible either. He just seemingly didn't have it tonight, you know. And sitting all the smack he was talking about Islam and what he could do and how these guys are not on his level and what he was going to do to Gaethje, he definitely didn't prove that tonight. He really made it, because even before, months ago, maybe even last year, when I thought of him and Islam getting in and fighting, I always thought that was just fallacy. I always thought that was kind of nonsense. I'm like, considering how big Islam is, I just never understood the whole matchup between them two. I know Topuria had a lot of skill and talent, but I just didn't think somebody that's that big, with that much size and reach and weight, that it would be a good idea for Topuria to get in there with him. It just seemed like kind of ridiculous, but this guy kind of proved it, because, man, the shots Topuria was getting hit with, the damage he was taking, it just seemed like too much for him. So, like I said, beginning of the video, I gotta give Dana White and these guys credit who put together the matchmaking. Even though, like I said, the middle of the card, the Hashkin fight with Lewis, the Mauricio fight, Ruffy with Chandler, I thought some of those were like some gimme type fights that, you know, were kind of not landslide fights of who was gonna win, but it was pretty much favorite. A lot of the favorites tonight won outside of the main event. I think Pereira was favored a little bit in the heavyweight match, even though I don't think he should have been. I knew that fight was going to be a complete toss-up, but great card overall. Like I said, this card cooked for the most part. I can't wait to see what happens next month with Conor and Holloway, because that card at UFC card between those dudes is going to be really, really good, considering that card's kind of stacked pretty well as well. So looks like UFC has been cooking the past couple months. That definitely was the best card of the year so far. Let's see what happens going forward. But once again, congrats to Gaethje, Gane, all the guys who were able to get their dubs tonight under the White House lawn. So, great job. But as I always said in my videos, thank you guys all for watching. And as always, until we meet again.